Okay, I'm here with Christian Natividad. And man, I'm very excited to see you get back in the cage. It's been way too long. He's taken on Devon Jackson November 8th at LFA 196. So we're just a few days away. UFC Fight Pass, of course, is where you can watch that one. Christian, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you again. Few days out. What's the feeling? What's the emotion after such a long layoff? Less than a week out.
So every time I have a fight coming up, obviously, bunch of excitement that goes, lots of emotion. I'm just excited to get back into the cage. Now, with having a 2-year layoff, obviously, it's a little bit more heightened because I haven't had this feeling of being able to walk into a cage, having my hand raised, and having that opportunity to, really let myself go and just lay off on someone.
Yeah. How are these next few days going to look for you as we get towards the fight? Obviously, no, there's not as much travel involved in this one. The fight's in Arizona, so that's obviously a good point. You can kind of focus on these final few days as we get towards the fight. How are these next few days going to look?
Camp is pretty much done, right? All the
Yeah.
hard work has been done. Now I just have to cut weight, which a lot of people say that's the hard part. It definitely is really, really hard, but the amount of work that we put in throughout the training camp, it's definitely way harder than the weight cut, right? Because we're having to, do all that strength and conditioning, the hard barring, hard drilling, all that good stuff. Now, that's something that's pretty unique here for me. Just having this fight here in Arizona for all of my professional fights, I've had to travel out of state, right? And
Yeah.
for me to fight, you know, here making my return in Phoenix to have a home crowd behind me, honestly, it's gonna be something pretty special to me.
Yeah. Um, you touched on the layoff. 756 days it will be when you step into the cage since your last fight. Last time we talked, before I was on Violent Money, which is where this interview is going to be. Last time we talked, you were really ready to kind of knuckle down in your MMA career. I remember you were in your office at your job when we did the interview, and then I know soon after that you left and you were really gonna focus on MMA. I think you had one fight since then, and then we've had this 2 year layoff. So I think just set the scene for us if you can. Why has this been the case? Why has it been so long since we've seen you in the cage, essentially?
Yeah, man. So to be honest, it was very just a series of unfortunate events that happened here to me. So, I was working at a great company, Titan Solar Power. They took care of me, awesome job, and I loved what I did. Now, I had one foot here being a finance manager and another foot here trying to be a professional MMA fighter. And I was thriving doing both. But I had someone who I saw kind of as a mentor. He told me, "Hey, you have one foot here, one foot there. Put both feet in one pond and just commit." And so that's when I decided to fight MMA full time and leave my job. Now, with that being said, I left November 2021. Come January 2022, I got severely hurt. So it was not good, right? Less than 2 months after I quit my job, I had a severe injury. Now that explains why.
What was the injury, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it was a knee injury.
Right.
Yeah. And so um that explains the long layoff from
Yeah.
my fight in, I think it was June 2021 all the way till October 2022. I took over a year off. It was just because I had to do the rehab, trying to get healthy and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Now, after that fight in October 2022, come January 2023, I got hurt again. And at that point, I was like, hey, I need to really think about what I have to do, right? I need to take care of myself, take care of my body, because obviously, if I don't have, a healthy body, I can't continue this career. And so come January 2023, when I got hurt again, that's when I had that talk with myself to figure out what do I really need to do to, get back on track and get healthy. So I took that whole year off, 2023, to pretty much get surgeries and get myself very healthy again. And obviously throughout this year, I've been doing a lot of rehab, a lot of PT, all that good stuff. And so when it comes to me fighting MMA full time, I did have to get back into the work industry, right? I had to find another job because without fighting, I wasn't able to train people. I wasn't able to, fight and have money coming in. I still got to put food in my mouth, and I still got to keep the lights on in the house. And so, I had to start working for a different company, in which I found this company, A1 Garage, which they're a phenomenal company. I love working for them. Been working for them for just about a year now, and to be honest, I have no regrets working with them. Now going back to it, I have 1 foot here at A1 Garage and 1 foot here as an MMA fighter. To be honest, at Titan Solar Power, I had way more responsibilities.
Yeah.
Being here, I feel like I could still thrive, and I could get rid of that financial stress that I was having as a full-time professional MMA fighter.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, you'd mentioned obviously the rehab. And was the second injury the knee again? Just
Yeah, yeah, it
yeah,
was the
it was.
knee again. Yeah, it was
Okay.
just giving me injury or giving me a hard time with it.
All right, okay. Obviously you talked about all that rehab, all that physical therapy. How has this been like mentally? Obviously, you said you work at a great company, you worked at a great company before, you worked at a great company now. So that's kind of, I guess, help. But mentally, you're at such a crossroads in your career where you did leave that job to then go full time, 5-0, looking great. You're making that next step to then, and then this happens. What's it been like mentally trying to get back to this stage?
Mentally, it was very tough.
Yeah.
And I'd say it was more mentally tough than physically, right? Even though physically, like having to go to PT, it's tough. Having surgery, any kind of surgery, it's tough on your body. But the mental part of it, I really got to thank my PT at Control Physical Therapy. His name is Greg. He's really helped me out a lot because we got to a point, and I know a lot of trainers, a lot of people that like physical therapists, they're also therapist in itself as far as like their clients vent to them, right?
Yeah.
And so this guy Greg is someone that I really put my trust in, and I started out at a certain point when once we built a certain relationship, I started to vent to him, hey, this is how I feel about my knee. This is how I feel about this and that. And he really assured me that, hey, this is a long process. And even though you feel this way right now, later down the road, more confidence is going to start building and building and building. And before I knew it, I was more confident in my knee, than I ever thought I would have been. And so it definitely is a long process, but it's just a lot of trust and a lot of belief in having the right people around me.
Perfect. Let's talk about the fight a little bit. Devon Jackson, the opponent. He's a guy he's been through a few regional promotions. He fought in Fury, fought in A1. Now coming for his first fight in LFA. What do you know about him, and what are your thoughts on him coming into this one?
He's a tough guy. It's funny. One of my friends, Tyrell Fortune, he fights for Bellator PFL,
Yeah.
and Devon Jackson is Tyrell's best friend's little brother. And so, it's kind of funny because when I was telling Tyrell about it, he was like, "That name sounds so familiar," and he was like, "Oh, I know who that is. That's my best friend's little brother." Devon Jackson, he's tough, man. He's tough. Um, it's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, sounds like I need to interview Tyrell about this fight. I mean,
Yeah.
how what's it been like? What's it been like for him?
To be honest, I'm pretty sure he don't care, like as long as he sees two of his friends fighting, two of his friends chasing one goal, no matter who wins, no matter who loses, he's gonna have a good time. He's gonna be in attendance November 8th.
Yeah, perfect. Obviously Devon Jackson, he's 3-2 guy. You're undefeated at 5-0. How do you think, from what you've seen, he compares to some of the other guys you've fought in your career?
It's I watched I don't do the most film study, and I
Yeah,
feel like I should do more. But when I watched Devon Jackson, when I watched his last fight, he's fighting a tough undefeated prospect as well. And I feel like that was an early stoppage. He got rocked, he wobbled a little bit, and the referee jumped in and stopped the fight. And he was winning, that round prior to the referee stopping the fight. He had the guy on the ground, he was ground and pounding, he looked pretty good. And then the guy just got up on the feet and clipped him real quick, and the referee stopped the fight like prematurely. So even though his record's only 3-2, I know he's going to be tough. I know he's going to come down ready to bang, and I'm excited for it.
Perfect. Obviously, I mean, we keep touching on it, but you've had this layoff. I know you've been putting the work in the gym once you could as well. 2022 Christian Natividad was great, built a 5-0 record. What's going to be different about the guy stepping into the cage on Friday in Phoenix?
I'm gonna have a home crowd. I've never had a home crowd, man, and so like to have a home crowd behind me, it's definitely going to drive up that energy, drive up that killer instinct, and
Yeah,
obviously every time I go into the cage, it's kill or be killed.
yeah,
But just having that crowd around me, it's gonna, like I mentioned, it's gonna be something special.
perfect. In terms of skill set, where do you think where, I mean, without giving too much away, in the work you've been able to put in these last 2 years around the injuries, where has the development been? What's going to be different about Christian Natividad as a fighter compared to the last time we saw you in 2022?
Yeah, as far as being on the feet or being on the ground, I feel like my game is really elevated.
Yeah,
And the reason why, even though I didn't have much time on the mats throughout 2023,
yeah,
I was still spiritually and mentally there, right? Having to study stuff, learn new techniques, and even though I couldn't really drill it, I watched a lot of things that really stuck into my head. And still being like at the gym but not being able to train, that's really elevated my game, whether it was on the feet or on the ground.
yeah. Perfect. We have a bit of a quick fire segment, so I'm just going to ask you some quick fire questions now.
Mhm.
Favorite food?
Woo, that's a good one. So if I were to say what I'm craving right now, because my favorite food it does vary between
Yeah.
a couple different things, right? Depending on how I feel. But what I'm feeling right now, man, my fiance makes some of the best steak. So I'd have to say my fiance's filet mignon.
Yeah. Favorite drink?
Favorite drink. These are hard questions. Favorite drink. I'd say maybe a mango smoothie. Could never go wrong with a mango smoothie.
Oh, see, there's the Filipino coming out right there.
Right there, you already know.
No,
Mangoes, I
no,
love mangoes. Yeah.
yeah. Go to breakfast. You say Filipino. I know the Filipinos love their breakfast. I know
Oh,
Filipino breakfast is like elite level.
yeah. So, just so you know, bro, a Filipino breakfast is pretty much dinner, but you throw an egg on top.
Yeah.
That's all a Filipino breakfast is. But if I'm being 100% honest, I love an American breakfast, right? Just like a traditional eggs, bacon, some pancakes, um, and or a breakfast burrito. I love breakfast burritos too.
Yeah. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie. I was just let's see, on the top of my head. That's a tough one. I'm definitely not prepared for these questions right now.
This is always the
Uh,
one that gets people, just so you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I could think of a favorite TV show on the top of my head, but
Well, that's
favorite
next.
mo
That's next. Don't worry.
that's next. Okay. Let me see. Favorite movie. Uh, to be honest, I'm just gonna go with something that um I never think twice about watching, but I love the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Big Harry Potter fan.
Favorite TV show then.
Okay, there we go. Game of Thrones, man.
Yeah.
I feel like even with the horrible ending, Game of Thrones, I've never found another show like it. I'm still on see I still haven't watched season 2 of House of Dragon yet, but and I wasn't a big fan of season 1, but the original Game of Thrones, never found a show like it.
Yeah. Favorite musician?
Musician question. I've been listening to a lot of Kai and Common Kings lately. Local band from Hawaii.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Favorite sport other than MMA. Favorite sport that I like to watch or favorite sport that I like to play?
I mean, you can go for either if you want.
Okay. So I love to play ping pong. Ping pong
Yeah,
is something I love to play. I'm telling you, bro, it's the Asian in me. Favorite sport that I like to watch, I'd probably say, other than MMA, I'd probably say boxing. Oh,
yeah,
boxing for both, actually. Boxing for both.
yeah. Favorite fight. So favorite fight to watch, and then favorite of your own fights.
Favorite fight to watch. A good fight to watch. Oh, Jose Aldo versus Chad Mendes. That was
Yeah,
a good fight. The second one, right? They fought twice, right?
yeah, they fought
One,
twice.
yeah. So, one of the fights where I think it went to decision. That's my favorite one. My favorite fight to watch is gonna be my first fight as a professional.
Yeah.
My first fight as a professional. I feel like that one always hits home.
Favorite fighter.
Uh, Favorite professional fighter in the UFC right now for me would be Max Holloway.
Yeah. I mean, it was sad to see him go down last week, man.
We don't speak about it. Yeah, that was heartbreaking, man. That him and Robert Whitaker, that was tough to watch.
Yeah, yeah. Favorite submission to practice.
I like my guillotines.
Yeah. Funniest person you've met in MMA.
Funniest person I've met in MMA has to be a professional fighter.
Whoever you want.
Let's see, professional funniest person that I know. Uh, I'd probably say it's a combination of Tyrell Fortune and Kyle Stewart. Because when those two are together, those guys are hilarious.
Yeah. Best piece of advice you've been given.
Trust the process. I feel like you hear it all the time, but that's absolutely true. Sometimes you just gotta buckle down and just uh trust trust the process.
I mean, you say you hear it all the time, but I mean, there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a reason that the cliches are cliches.
Right?
Yeah, perfect. I want to thank you for taking the time today, Christian. A few days out from the fight, LFA 196, November 8th, this Friday, UFC Fight Pass, of course. Phoenix, Arizona, hometown fight for yourself. And Christian, give us a hard sell. Give us a hard sell. When yourself, Devon Jackson step into the cage, what can people expect?
Just expect for both of us tough motherfuckers to start swinging and go wild. He's If I were to be 100% honest, me and him are pretty similar. It just comes down to who wants to bite down and who wants to go a little bit further.
Sounds like an exciting fight then. Very
Yeah,
excited
it's gonna be
to
fun.
watch.
It's gonna be
Very
fun.
excited to see you back. It's been too long. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time. Best of luck.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.